Hello again, rail fans. You know, we often overlook the little things that happen in our own backyards, interesting things sometimes. Well, one of those for me is the way Amtrak comes into Tampa. Before it gets to the station, they turn that train completely around and back it 2 miles down into Tampa Union Station. Well, I thought that might make for an interesting video, so here we go. I took 3 or 4 trips out there. It took that many trips to get to the different angles to show you everything that happens. But I thought it might be interesting for you, so let's take a look.
Just a mile east of the downtown is Tampa's historic Latin section, Ybor City. Settled mostly by Cuban immigrants in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Ybor City is dotted with big, old cigar factories. Many of them have been repurposed as office buildings, but a few still operate making cigars. Ybor City was once famous for its hand-rolled cigars. Now it's a hotspot for nightlife and its food. Right through the middle of Ybor City is the Atlantic Coastline Main, now the CSX A-Line. This is Henry Plant's railroad that he built primarily to reach this port on Florida's Gulf Coast. Cresting the hill is Amtrak 91, the southbound New York to Miami Silver Star. He's coming into his Tampa stop, but before arrival, he's got to turn around and back into the station. 91 is turning onto the north leg of a Y that leads to the one-time Thonotasassa subdivision that ran northeast to Temple Terrace, Zephyr Hills, and Vitus Junction. Long since discontinued about 4 miles to the north, it's now called the Navy Spur. There are still a number of industries on the line. Now, I shot this over several days, so you're going to see different train sets as we change locations. Like now, this is the stem of the Navy Y. This is January 2022, and due to the pandemic and some related crew issues, Amtrak has consolidated the consists of both the Silver Star and the Silver Meteor into what amounts to one superstar. 2 locomotives, 5 coaches, 1 cafe, 1 diner, 5 sleepers, and 1 baggage. Now this is Amtrak 92, the northbound Silver Star, but the operation at Tampa is the same.
2 more. 1.
The engineer today is K.G. Myers, and under the guidance of the conductor on the rear car, he pulls the train completely north of the switch at the stem of the Y. Here they stop and perform a routine test. The conductor blows the train brake air pressure by opening a valve on the backup hose. This is a test of the emergency brake application. It's the only direct control the conductor will have to stop the train in case a vehicle or something else obstructs the backing move at one of the 17 road crossings between here and the station. After the air is blown off, the engineer immediately begins recharging the system and waiting for the PTC to reset. While this is happening, the switch lines for the other side of the Y. The CSX dispatcher has stacked in a sequence for this move that automates the 3 switches in the Y and their associated signals. When the last car cleared the switch, it reversed, and the Navy Y signal improved to a red over green. Slow clear, which indicates move at slow speed over the switch, then proceed. The conductor now calls to start the backup.
Here, and I took it
Conductors on point, clear of all tracks, slow clear, lined up, good stuff, back 10 cars with the runner, over.
Clear, shut down, runner up.
Now they begin the backing move, slowly at first, running on that slow clear. Just after he gets the whole train moving, the engineer applies some brakes and immediately releases them. This is a running brake test, a runner, required after any change in the train's status, including a crew change or a loss of pressure. Just about any operational event.
Just set on the runner there, 9-1.
Around the curve is the signal for the south leg of the Y, also showing a slow clear. As Amtrak 91 backs down the south leg, we get a look at the backup hose in service. He hits two crossings. The first, 7th Avenue, no problem. The second crossing, 36th Street, has flashing lights but no gates, and therefore they must stop. One of the crew gets down and holds out a red flag to protect the crossing until the train covers it. I ran a clock on the stop and flag sequence, and it adds about a minute and a half to the backup move into Tampa. The backup hose has a built-in whistle that uses air brake pressure for signaling at crossings.
No, all right, already, when we went back to signal, we're good to go now.
Oh, check back in, copy.
As he backs down, he gets a clear signal at TN, the crossing of the Clearwater sub that used to be the Tampa Northern, hence the initials.
I got a clear at TN. We go for 20 cars there, 9-1.
There are 5 sleepers on this superstar train. 3 of them are new Viewliner 2s in Phase 3 striping and named after rivers that Amtrak crosses in the east. These new ones are built by a Spanish company named CAF at their factory in Elmira, New York.
TN, still go for 20, over.
While out here waiting, I noticed some recent track construction. For the first time in its history, this segment of the A-line from 50th Street south to Tampa Union Station now has continuous welded rail instead of jointed stick rail. We're talking since 1881 here. I don't know why CSX installed this. They don't appear to be seeking any new business on this line. Probably just economics. Something missing from the line is the old freight lead track, apparently removed in the same operation as the new ribbon rail installation. This was a secondary line that extended from Uceda Yard down to near TN Tower. It was just what the name said, a lead for switching freight customers along the way without getting in the way of through freights and passenger trains. Up until the mid-1980s, this stretch was a 3-track line, double-track main from Uceda to the station, plus the freight lead. It also had those famous ACL cantilever signals. Now the second main, the freight lead, and those signals are all gone.
Next 2 switches line. Gate open, 20 cars, over.
A 2-mile shove from the South Y to Tampa Union Station. I think this is one of the longest mainline backup moves that Amtrak makes. The purpose is twofold. First, Tampa is a stub-end station. That's railroad talk for a dead end. You can't go out the other end, so you have to come back out the same way you came in. Second, it's preferable to not have 2 running locomotives right up against the station house. It's noisy, and it makes a longer walk for passengers to their train cars. So, rather than turning the train on the way out, you turn it on the way in and back it to the station.
Give me 1 car now, 1.
Amtrak 91 is scheduled to spend 14 minutes at its Tampa stop. They'll leave as soon as everyone gets aboard. That includes a new engineer. Tampa is a crew change point on Amtrak.
Good on the safety, 1.5 to a final there, 9-1.
After he passed, I took note of something interesting in the track. A hump in the rail, deliberately designed to be there. It's part of a new switch installed with the new welded rail. Note how the guardrail also has a hump in the middle. My friend Del Cobb, a track specialist here in Florida, explained it to me. It's called a jump frog, used on turnouts that don't get heavy traffic, like right here. The jump frog, or lift frog switch, doesn't have a flangeway on the turnout side and relies on the bent rail and the guardrail to guide the wheel flanges through a diverging move, kind of up and over the main line rail, like a flange-bearing diamond, hence the hump. With no slamming, the jump frog is much quieter and requires far less maintenance than a traditional switch frog. Trains running through it on the mainline side don't even feel it. This lift frog was made by Progress Rail.
That's right, clear up top. All right, head in. We all clear on the side. Let's ride. Runner up.
B91 Amtrak is 81 north. Parting Tampa.
When the conductor gives the word on the radio, the engineer blows the horn twice, releases the brakes, and slowly throttles up. Watch those green lights on the Viewliner sleepers come on. This lets the engineer know that the brakes on the car are properly released. He can see them in his rearview mirror. When the brakes are on, they turn yellow.
Good set on the runner there now. One.
He keeps it at about walking speed coming out because the first road crossing has a short signal circuit. He waits until the lights are flashing and the gates are down, then he adds some more throttle. Now the southbound 91 is headed northward on the A-line. He'll go back out the way he came in, past Plant City and Lakeland, until he gets to Auburndale. There, the dispatcher lines him on to the Auburndale sub, now going southward toward West Palm Beach. At West Palm, the track becomes the South Florida Regional Transportation Authority, a double-track commuter line to Miami. When the Silver Star has left town, I break off and head up 15th Street for some lunch. It's only a few blocks around the curve and under Interstate 4 to La Segunda Bakery, famous for their Cuban bread. So famous that other sandwich shops, supermarkets, and even other bakeries feature La Segunda's Cuban bread. It's what a Tampa Cuban sandwich is made on. But I'm here for an authentic deviled crab. This has been a staple street food of Ybor City since its beginning. Crabs were cheap and plentiful just a few blocks away in Tampa Bay. Not much like Maryland crab cakes, Ybor devil crabs are a football-shaped, deep-fried combination of crab meat, vegetables, breadcrumbs, and spices. You can get these at places all over Ybor and West Tampa. In 2022, they're $6.99 at La Segunda.
Those devil crabs at La Segunda are fantastic. Just great eating, great old Cuban recipe, just really good food there. Also, if you're ever at La Segunda, don't forget to try yourself a Cuban sandwich. Delicious. And maybe one of these days, we'll stop in there before we go rail fanning and have ourselves a little Cuban toast and some cafe con leche for breakfast. Who knows? Just a delicious treat there. Please hit the like button if you like this video. I'd appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that. I'd appreciate that. Write your comments in the comments section down below. I read them all and try to respond to as many as I can. And thank you so much for all of your suggestions and recommendations about different video ideas, different places that I need to go. I'm writing all those down and filing them away, and I'm going to try to start getting to some of those very soon. So thank you very much for that. So, till we run into each other again, somewhere out there on the high iron, this is Danny Harmon, out.